Hey, so this is a re-upload. The original got taken down for clip in particular. I don't know why. So I'm uploading it back again, and in order to avoid any future copyright instances, I've just gone to ham on the footage here. So it's gonna look a little weird, but at least it won't get taken down for no reason. Stick around until March. There's a new video then. Okay, bye. Worse than usual audio today, oh boy! Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind was the other Miyazaki movie I saw in theaters this year, and oh boy did I love it. Nausicaa herself, the title character, almost instantly became my favorite Ghibli character. The moment I knew she was the best came early on, when she walks in on her dad or someone getting murdered and then goes apeshit and straight up kills a bunch of dudes in a thrilling hand-to-hand combat sequence. This scene worked so well for me because up until this point, Nausicaa has mostly been referred to as Princess Nausicaa, and the word princess has a whole bunch of connotations that don't exactly line up with this. In addition, she's been shown up until this point as kind-hearted, willing to help others, and generally well-liked among her townfolk. To see that she has a darker side to her was an unexpected and welcome change of pace. And what's more, this scene isn't just the first of many action scenes, no, it's actually the start of a character arc for Nausicaa. See, she didn't know she had this badassery in her either. She spends the rest of the movie anguishing over the lives she took in her anger, and comes out of the experience a wiser person who actively searches for solutions other than violence to any given problem. She's not someone who's opposed to violent actions from the get-go because hurting people is bad, but she generally opposes violence because she has first-hand experience on how scarring and mentally damaging the act of taking a life is, and she wants to prevent others from experiencing it as much as possible. This isn't a princess who sits around with her tea and cake. She's a genuine, earnest leader, one with flaws and the strength to overcome them. A compelling protagonist and all-around cool gal. If I'm being honest, Nausicaa is like 90% the reason why I like this film so much, but I can't just stop the video here because we're only time code in, and that'd be way too short. So I suppose I should keep going. Let's see here. It looks really good, and not just by 1984 standards. The movie's visuals hold up even today. Seeing it in a theater in 2017, sure, I could tell you it looked old, but I would never have guessed it was over 30 years old, and I realize I just made a very broad statement with the whole "it looks really good by 1984 standards" thing, like I have any sort of knowledge of what animation looked like in the 1980s. So tell you what, let's take a quick trip to our good old friend Google and see what it thinks of the most famous animated movies of that time are, and how they hold up in comparison to Nausicaa. Let's see here, Google's pushing Secret of NIMH, 1982. That looks nice, I suppose. It's almost comparable to Nausicaa. The Black Cauldron, 1985. That looks fine. The American Tail, 1986. That looks fine. There was a Macross thing in 1984. In comparison to all those, Nausicaa is tiers above anything in the animation department. Alright, look. The point of that exercise was not to put down or thoroughly analyze the visuals of any of those films mentioned. For how quick I have to pump out this video, I can't sit down and watch all of those movies and comprehensively judge how their visuals hold up by modern standards, and judge how they compare to Nausicaa. All I'm saying is, by the looks of things, Nausicaa wins. I must also mention the soundtrack. For the most part, it was nice and serviceable, but every once in a while it would kick in with the synth instruments. And every time that happened, I would be reminded that, alright, this was made in the 80s. It wasn't all bad, in fact, I kinda liked it, but in a film with as strong and overt and environmental as in this, having distinctly technologically based music in the soundtrack felt a little bit jarring is all. Though to be fair, the first synth-heavy track on the soundtrack is titled and tied to the movie's Polluted Sea, so maybe the music is equating unnatural things like this music as the cause of the destruction of nature? Maybe? Probably, that's it, yeah. So overall, yeah, Nausicaa the Valley of the Wind is a fantastic film. I'm not sure I can yet call it a favorite. After all, that's a high bar to clear, and I really need to give it a rewatch before deciding, but regardless, it's still a Miyazaki movie with strong visuals and characters. Of course it's fantastic. I'm sure I'll be revisiting it many times in the years to come, and maybe, hopefully, I'll read the manga too, because that's supposedly a million times better, and this movie is already great, so I can hardly imagine how good it is, but goddamn if I don't need to read it. Whew. Thanks for watching day 28 of 31 Days of Anime 2017. Today was number 4 on this list, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. Join me tomorrow for Dragons. That was the most unsubtle hint I've ever given. In the meantime, hit the sack, Jack. Thanks again for watching. See you tomorrow. God, this was rushed.